Once upon a time, there were 4 blind men, so the tale goes, and they encountered an elephant. Each of them decided to check out the nature of the elephant, and so they went right to work. One grabbed a hold of the leg. Another one ran into the side of the elephant. Another one bumped into the trunk of the elephant, and the other examined the ears. And as you can imagine, they got in a terrible argument about exactly what that critter was like. Well, you know, there's a lot of confusion today because people are often in the same situation about, well, a lot of things, including something as prosaic as the clarinet. In fact, I'll say that unless we have a comprehensive view of the clarinet, that we are, in some degree, a lot like those 4 blind guys that were trying to find out exactly what an elephant was. As close as they were, and as closely as they examined the elephant, none of them really had any idea what the elephant really was, what it really looked like, and what it did. So, how do we save ourselves from that? That is, we know what an elephant is, but many of us who play the clarinet don't really have a complete and total view of the clarinet, and therefore we misunderstand a lot of things, we're confused about a lot of things, and we're victims of a lot of flim-flamming, a lot of hype, and we also get angry at each other, and we develop prejudices that are not founded in reality. So, the cure is learning. And what I'm going to try to do in this coming video is to give you a total view of the clarinet that's helped me tremendously in everything I've ever done on the clarinet, whether it's play the instrument, teach the instrument, or develop musical instruments for others. So here we go, and the first thing we're going to do is to talk about what Aristotle knew about the clarinet and how that could help us. We're going to begin our investigation for the purpose of gaining a total overview of the clarinet by going all the way back to ancient Greece, to a philosopher I'm sure that you all know, whose name was Aristotle, very, very famous philosopher. And you might rightly ask, what on earth were we doing back in Greece? The clarinet wasn't even invented then. Well, that's true too. But we'll go back there because Aristotle was a very wise man. And yes, he didn't know about the clarinet specifically, but he knew something about the clarinet that is very important that we should also know. And that is that everything that's made has 4 causes. That's right, 4 causes. And those causes can be very revealing to us about the clarinet if we know what the causes are. But let's not start with the clarinet. Let's start with something very simple. Aristotle says that everything that's made has 4 causes, and the first cause is the material cause. Now, material cause, let's say for an example, a candle. The material cause is wax and string. Now, I know that perfume may be added to it, and different kinds of waxes, beeswax and paraffin and all that. Different kinds of string might even be used. But the candle is at least wax and string. So we'll say that is those 2 things make up the material cause of a candle. Well, then Aristotle says a material cause is not enough. We must have an efficient cause. And the efficient cause, he says, is the oldie candle maker. And the candle maker is the person who puts wax and string together into a useful form. And that useful form has a formal cause. So the formal cause of the candle is the 3rd cause, and the formal cause is to sustain a flame. Okay, so well, that sounds, well, isn't that really the final cause of the candle? Not really. Not really. The purpose for which the candle has actually been made is the useful purpose for man, and that is, in the case of the candle, to give light. To give light. So there we have the four causes of the candle: the material cause, the efficient cause, the formal cause, and the final cause. The clarinet's a very different critter than a candle, but still, it has those four causes. The material cause of the clarinet is, of course, what the clarinet's made out of, and clarinets are made of different things. They're made, of course, of metal, certain kinds of metal with the key work, and springs. So the clarinet's much more complicated than the candle. So it has several elements within the material cause. The body could be made out of wood, it could be made out of plastic or hard rubber, different kinds of woods, different kinds of plastics and acrylics, and so on and so forth. It's a very complex instrument in terms of exactly what the material causes are, but nonetheless, they are material causes. The efficient cause, of course, would be the clarinet maker, the guy who actually puts the thing together. That could be even the person who owns the factory, even though he doesn't make anything. So all these people involved in actually the making of the clarinet, they are part of the efficient cause. And of course, you can see that it would take quite a few more people to make a clarinet than it would a candle. So a candle maker's business can be kind of a one-man band, okay? But not clarinet making. It usually takes several people with lots of complicated equipment to make a good clarinet. So the formal cause, then, what is the formal cause? It's actually to produce a musical tone. And it just happens to be the clarinet's a partially stopped pipe. But it's there to produce a musical tone. Fine. Well, isn't that the final cause? Well, actually, it's not. Like sustaining a flame is the formal cause of a candle. The formal cause of a clarinet is to produce the tone, to produce a musical tone. A musical tone, we're going to discuss what that is a little bit later, because there's probably a lot of confusion about exactly what is a musical tone. But the question is, then what is the final cause? The fourth and final cause of the clarinet is to produce the musical sound phrase. Not just a sound, but many, many sounds and connected sounds, connected shapes and sounds that represent musical ideas and expressions that the instrumentalist wants to bring forth. Not just to produce an individual tone, but to produce the musical sound phrase. And when you consider that as the final cause of the clarinet itself, when you begin to look at it, gets pretty complicated. A lot more complicated than just producing a single tone, like a doorbell, for instance, will produce a single tone. No, the clarinet's much more complicated because the demands on it are much more complicated. Okay, so now we have our four causes of the clarinet. So, how does that help us? Well, it helps us make distinctions that are very important. You see, if we're looking at something as a big gray goo, then we really can't sort things out enough to understand the nature of the thing itself. But if we make distinctions, we don't make distinctions to, say, tear something apart and leave it there. We make distinctions so that when we combine them again, we combine them in a right priority, in a right order, in a right way. Because the order of the truth is just as important as the truth itself, the substance of the truth. The order of the truth is intrinsic to the truth about something. It's not something extrinsic to the truth. If you have the truth out of order, if they have the priorities all mixed up, then the fruit that you would have from knowing the truth about something would not bear nearly as much good things and as many good things as you might expect it would. Let's take the material cause, for instance. The material cause, as I said, the first three causes are mere means, okay? And the really only important thing is that final cause. So that's why I have the final cause in gold when I put it up there, because that's our ultimate goal. You need to keep your eyes on the prize and never forget about that, and don't get caught up in the sidelines. For instance, some people get caught up in the sidelines of the material cause. They say, I'll only play a clarinet if it's made of coca-cola wood or grenadilla wood or some other material. Other people get caught up in the efficient cause. They'll say, I'll only play a clarinet if it has this brand on it. Only these people that make this brand, that have it stamped on the clarinet, those are the only ones that I ever want to pay attention to. And these people are lost in the efficient cause. They're lost in the second cause, the efficient cause. Sometimes clarinet players, when they're playing a clarinet, they'll get myopic. And I've known people to actually pick a clarinet based on how they like a single tone to sound, or thought one clarinet superior to another because one tone on the particular clarinet was outstanding. This person, of course, is caught in the formal cause. And these are means, and they will never yield the really great clarinet that you're looking for. It is only when we keep our eyes focused on the final cause that we can really know what we're doing. And in order to know what we're doing with the final cause, we're going to have to know something about the musical sound phrase and what kind of demands it's going to put on the clarinet. In our next video, we're going to talk about that. Anything that's made has four causes: the material cause, the efficient cause, the formal cause, and the final cause. The first three causes, the material, efficient, and formal, only exist to serve the purpose of the final cause. Without the final cause, they have no reason to exist. The clarinet, being simply another thing that is made, is no exception. It has a material cause, an efficient cause, and a formal cause. And these three first causes also serve only as means to the end of the final cause. The final cause is not only the sole justification for the existence of the first three causes. By understanding the specific content of the final cause in relationship to something specific, such as the clarinet, we find this content provides the analytical tools with which we can discover and correct errors and weaknesses in the processes of the first three causes, and discern what elements in them detract from rather than contribute to a more perfect realization of the final cause. Having now established the preeminence and critical importance of the final cause, and having shown the musical sound phrase to be the final cause for the existence of the clarinet, we should now be able to easily see just how important and beneficial it is to study the nature of the musical sound phrase and understand the exacting demands it places upon both the performer and the performer's equipment. We will begin such a study in the very next video. In the meantime, please visit us on the World Wide Web at ridenourclarinetproducts.com. Thank you for watching.